This is a dictation from Beloved Lord Neptune from Friendship with the Gods. And Lord Neptune is co-creator and governor of the water element with his divine complement, Beloved Lunara. She is director of the civilization within the Moon's center. Beloved Lord Neptune says, "Beloved friends, your attention upon the element under my God control has drawn me into your midst. I am Neptune, often referred to as the father of the waters. Looking upon this section of the vast body of water known as the Atlantic Ocean," he was speaking from Long Island, New York, "you see a small segment of the activities of the Undines who, in obedience, respond to their directors in the pulsating rhythm of the tides, whose magnetic pull breathes in and out in regulated pattern. Sometimes one views the magnificent floor of the ocean in what could be described as a tranquil state, for most assuredly there can be tranquility in power and might. One must not confuse tranquility with inertia, however. In the case of the activities of a body of water of the magnitude of an ocean, tremendous factors must be considered to realize some of the scope of its service. On the floor of the ocean grow many flora which have wonderful health-giving properties, one of which is known as kelp. We recognize its iodine content for treatment of certain deficiencies in the normal functioning of the bodies of man and so-called beast. The salt content in the waters of the ocean contributes to its buoyancy and sustains some of the life which exists in the kingdom abiding in the mighty waters. Man could not exist without water, for that element is necessary for the sustenance of his life, internally and externally. You are also cognizant of the fact that the emotional vehicle, which comprises 80% of the lower garments, is made up of the water element. In recent years, there has been much discussion and great effort expended in the process of desalination of the water of the ocean, so that it would be fit for human consumption, and the resultant fresh water would not interfere with the chemical action of the body. True, the vehicles of mankind cannot take an excessive saline content, but it is necessary to sustain the life within the glorious bosom of the oceans. You have a wonderful example of the buoyancy of salt water and the remedial qualities as it invigorates the physical body of those who swim or bathe in its exhilarating powers. When you reach that stage in your evolution where you know the oneness of consciousness of all life, everywhere, you will further realize that all those who serve with me have to constantly engage in the activity of stabilization. And when the waters making up the seas roar in a mighty tempest, unless you have purified your emotional vehicle of all the generating centers which have caused disturbance, known or unknown, for which you are responsible, you are a contributing factor to the turbulence manifesting. Remember, every time you have stirred another's emotions, you are responsible for the uncontrolled energy which is set up in that one's world, and as surely as the tides flow in rhythmic manner, will every part of the discord which is of your own making, which you generated to them, return to you for transmutation. And when this occurs, if you are not harmonious and in God control of your energy, and alert and able to transmute the inharmonious energy through the sacred fire, the imperfection which you sent forth and all the momentum which it has gathered in its travels will present itself at your doorstep. For you who have the conscious knowledge of how to use the divine alchemy of purification have the responsibility of freeing imprisoned life from encasement in discord. You can see how an unkind word or deed can become a very serious offense against the spiritual law. Far, far greater is the offense of malicious thoughts which an individual entertains against another part of life. And woe to the man or woman who engages in this practice, for the returning energy will reap a bitter crop which must be transmuted by the sender. Another factor when thinking of the water element, you know that individuals react to climatic conditions, how some are depressed on rainy days or complain about the rise and fall of the temperature. If the individual had God control of the emotional vehicle, he then would happily realize that nature, through the elemental kingdom, was providing the body of Virgo, the earth element, with the substance required at a specific time for the enrichment and sustenance of the evolution of this earth. When there are excesses expressing in the outpicturing weather, do you not realize that you and the rest of mankind are again responsible in part for the reaction of the gnomes, undines, sylphs, or salamanders? Man has imposed the discordant radiation upon them, and they are reacting accordingly. Had the originator of this mischief transmuted it, or any individual along the receiving line done so, this discordant energy could have been changed through the divine alchemy of the sacred fire into an harmonious vibration. If you wish to mentally have a brief view of what is taking place in your emotional vehicle, think of the pictures you have seen of deep-sea activities with all the glorious fauna and flora, and when a creature abiding therein is expressing a destructive nature, you have a parallel of the activities taking place in your emotional world. When it is harmonious, it is a joy to behold and adds to the radiation of beauty of the universe. But when the pulsating causes and cores of discord are allowed to dwell in a Chila's world, it is a grievance of great magnitude. My beloved divine complement, the beautiful Lady Lunara, the spirit abiding within the moon, holds the water element within our balancing power of cohesion and expansion, and it is our great and responsible desire to assist you as well as all the evolutions on this planet as you journey homeward.